Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we are taking a look at, from the Transformers Earthrise line, this is the Amazon exclusive set of Dirge and Ramjet, commonly known as the Coneheads. As I mentioned, these are an Amazon exclusive, and if you've been on the internet this past weekend, you know that there were problems with this. Long story short, for whatever reason, Amazon saw fit to ship the majority of the sets in the product packaging with a shipping label just put on the box. So number one, it was damaging the box, and in several cases the toys came broken in the packaging because the box was crushed. Some people were lucky enough to have it sent in the Hasbro mailer. Some were very lucky to get it sent in a proper Amazon shipping box. Very few had the Hasbro mailer and the Amazon shipping box. I, of course, had mine sent in the Amazon shipping box, no Hasbro mailer, but the shipping label slapped on the box. If any of those negative conditions befell you, don't hesitate to message Amazon and demand some sort of reparations for the damage done. I mean, this is a collector set. It's over $60 after tax. There should be something, a little more care should be taken, and if not, you should get something back, like most of us have. But the way we're going to basically be doing this is I will be using Starscream to compare. So we'll be comparing Ramjet in robot mode and Dirge in vehicle mode, since the only difference between Ramjet and Dirge, besides their colors, are the wings, and using Starscream as that neutral medium will help. So we'll pause real quick, come back, and do a little comparison with Ramjet. Okay, so coming in, we can see right away some of the differences here. Some of the similarities. The chest section here is actually different. These are different sculpted parts, but you do have the same waist piece. This section here, right above it, basically what's going on is you have different sections painted, different details picked out, so it kind of look different. But the arms are the same, the null rays are the same. I actually thought they might be different, but that's what happens when you get in a different color. By the way, I have heard people getting stress marks in the null rays, popping them out of the packaging. As always, what I usually recommend is try to push forward on one section to free up the space in the back and get that one. Once you get that one side out, the other side should pop out. Don't try to pop out both sides at the same time, and that's a little complicated. As always, you can make an incision using a hobby knife into the plastic tray that will allow you to cut it open and maybe lift the null rays out that way. But moving on down, the legs are somewhat similar. One thing you should be noticing is that there is a difference in the knee pads, the coverings over the knee. But if we bring the section down and forward, it has the same exact detailing. I'm not sure how well that's coming out because this is a very light plastic, but it's the same exact detailing underneath. Now we will get more into that different knee pad and how it affects the transformation in jet mode when we take a look at Dirge. But moving down, the feet are the same. You're just missing the kibble here with the tail fins, since on Ramjet, the tail fins are molded into those booster parts. So we come around the back, and as you can see, the entire wing assembly is different. This section looks basically the same, so I think it's just that they added a hinge part to it to connect in to the wings there, and obviously you have this little section here. I would have liked to have seen a way to recreate the old look on the original toy, because really the wings pegged in the same location as the traditional Seekers, so it would have been nice to have that so you had it flowing back more as a cape. Obviously, positioning the wings and the little I guess, winglets there. That's completely and totally up to you, and your mileage may vary. But again, you have a more open back here on the torso because the wings aren't there. Also, the nose cones are exactly the same. Basically, they're doing the fake nose cone trick, which has been, I think, was done on the Masterpiece figures. Plenty of storage there, and they transform exactly the same. So we will pause now. Give me a second to transform Starscream, and then we will compare jet modes with Dirge. Okay, and here we are in jet mode. Here's Dirge. I have to be honest, Dirge is my favorite of the two, just because I like that darker blue color scheme. Although, unfortunately, a little bit marring here on the back. I guess when they cut the plastic off of the mold, the darker colors do make it a little more noticeable. And what's interesting is this wing design is actually closer to the original toy, and I think the cartoon image. I always felt that the 2007 Bakan figure was a bit of was actually closer, but that was really just a straight repaint of Ramjet. And if you weren't around back in 2007, you should look up the history of the controversy around that set and what went on. But basically, when this figure was done in the Classics 2.0 line, or I think it was the second year of Generations, they used this wing design, which is what Takara used when they released their version of the cone heads. Whole thing there, but like I said, closer to the toy, which is very nice. And as you can see from the top down, besides the wings, it is basically the same. You just don't have those tail fins, but I think basically the up bent wings there replace the tail fins. The null rays are different. The big change here, and this is something that I know Bolt Matrix pointed out, but he was just pointing out how the instructions have it one way and then the other. With Starscream, you basically have that waist cod piece over the knee pads. And of course, if you remember, this piece is what hides the peg hole if you want to use a stand. So on Dirge and Ramjet, because the knee pads are different and a little taller, that whole section is retooled differently. You have a whole different molding design there. They cover that waist piece, and what happens is if you try to have them go underneath, they actually will not close all the way. You have that clearance issue, and thus and I guess if the peg is small enough, you can get it into the stand, but you just can't get it down. So for all intents and purposes, the stand on the using a stand with the cone heads is just not possible. And you know what? I'm even noticing there's like a tab section for this to peg in, and you just can't do it. So you have to have that section down, and realistically, the knees don't close up as flush. I mean, I hope I'm not transforming this wrong in any way, shape, or form, but that's just how it is. I mean, there's just no way for this to close up properly. I mean, it is like thin plastic too, so I really don't want to force it. So, I mean, you would have to figure out a different way to try and get this on a stand. I mean, as you look at the side, there is like some curvature to like accept the waist piece there. So I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what to tell you in that regard. I don't know how many people would be displaying it like this. I mean, as it is, right there, that front piece of the waist piece, it's hitting the top of that hip, so that it's hitting the top of the knee pad. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but then again, America, Hasbro really doesn't sell the stands that are supposed to go with these. In robot mode, there is, like, right under the back, there is a peg section, so that'll work in robot mode. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious now, when Takara gets around to releasing these, are they going to change the molding somehow that this will work and close up properly, or are they just going to keep it like this? I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they go ahead and do a variant of a exclusive, but then again, it might not be an exclusive for them. But other than that little bit there with the waist piece, the sections are, it's basically the same core jet. So we'll pause, and I'll come back with my final thoughts. As is always the case with these store exclusives, I'm a little hesitant to recommend them, just because what might be easy for some people to find might be harder for others, especially in the case where you have core characters such as Ramjet and Dirge. The Coneheads were really a big part of the season 2 cast of Transformers, and having 2/3 of them as an exclusive makes it a little difficult to complete the whole set. Then again, we don't know how Thrust is going to be released. We're assuming it's going to be done in the main line, but for all we know, they might make it a network exclusive. Oh, would that be fun? A few other notes. The joint tolerances on these figures are fine. I do find that the swivel in the arms and in the head are a little bit tighter, but that should loosen up over time. Another thing I wanted to point out is the people who got the figures off of Amazon from this first shipment that went out over the weekend. Unfortunately, there were some quality control issues with Ramjet here. Parts just being marred, mold flashing, paint details, the joints being too tight and actually having some warping. And because of that, a lot of people are going to pass on the Coneheads entirely, at least until there's a second shipment or a second run or something. Thankfully, the only issue I really had with Ramjet was an itty-bitty piece of mold flash on one of the winglets on the back. I clipped it off. No muss, no fuss. So that's about it. I'm thinking about the different possibilities for these guys. Don't forget that there was a G2 Ramjet in some really funky colors. That'd be perfect for Generation Selects. So if you want to experience the mold, but you kind of want to wait, I think you will have some options down the line. With that said, as I mentioned in the beginning and have mentioned throughout, these are an Amazon exclusive, so if you want to get them, the only way you can is off of Amazon.com. Unfortunately, as of this recording, they are out of stock, but they usually do get a second run later on, so keep your eye out, and good luck if you are interested. As always, a like, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy this video. Really just watching it I do appreciate, but apparently with algorithms, all that other stuff matters. And if you are so inclined, I do have a Patreon. All I ask is $1 a month. No tiers, no bonuses, no thrills. You just help me bring content like this to you. There's a link in the description and a card here at the end of the video. This is your old pal Chuck for Dirge and Ramjet. We will see you next time.